talk. Did you get to say some verses? Keep working on those. You know, some of those verses are really long, and the problem is your brain can't remember all those words. Remember all those words if you just come to club and try to say it. But if you work on it at home every day, or even 2 or 3 times during the week, when you get here, it'll be familiar, even though it's really long, a lot easier to do. Okay, come in and sit down. We're going to have a story. I don't have anything for you to look at tonight except me. I think this is going to be a story that you'll be able to pay attention to, though. It's a Halloween story. Because Halloween is coming up. And sometimes we have to talk about it. I'm still waiting for everybody to sit down and kind of give me your attention. In a chair might be good. When one of my boys was about your age, my turn, so eyes up. When Jonathan was about 10 or so, he decided he was going to talk to other people about Jesus, even if he was scared. And it helped him develop courage, because courage is doing something that you're afraid to do. And so I didn't know that he decided he was going to do that. I think I didn't know half the things my kids did that and decided to do. But anyway, he was going around asking people, do you know Jesus? And I didn't know he was doing this. Until one day, I was trying to sell our travel trailer. And this enormous man came. He was like this tall, just this huge man came to look at my trailer. And I went out with him for a while. It was out kind of in the yard, but it was cold. And he stayed for a long time looking. I think he looked at every screw that held that trailer together. And I got tired. I get bored easy. And so I came back in the house, and Jonathan said, I'll go out with him, because he's thinking, I'm going to ask that guy about Jesus. Then he got out and saw how big he was, and he was kind of scared. So he didn't say anything. And the guy poked around and looked and poked around and looked, and he got under the trailer, and he's looking underneath the trailer, and Jonathan thought, now's my chance. So he says, hey, do you know Jesus? And the guy stopped moving, and he says, do I know Jesus? And then he came out from under the trailer, and he said, he stood up. And Jonathan's this tall, and this guy's, he goes, do I know Jesus? And Jonathan's going, don't hurt me. He didn't say that. He's going, yeah, do you? And he said, let me just tell you about that. 3 years ago, on Halloween, he was taking his kids trick-or-treating. I don't think you know what that is. Do you know what that is? Oh, of course you do. So he was taking his kids trick-or-treating, so he had 3 boys, and 2 of them were old enough, and one was only 3. And the 3-year-old's name was Adam. And he said, the 2 older boys, they were going to this neighborhood that he was just going to drive around this big neighborhood while his boys ran from house to house. And that's what all the other adults were doing too. So there's all these cars are driving along. There's a whole bunch of traffic, and everybody, their kids are all running from house to house to trick or treat. And Adam was sad because the older boys got to trick or treat and he didn't. And so to try to make it up to him, this man, whose name I do not remember, said, I know, Adam, let's listen to one of your CDs in the car, one of his favorite song things. And so he started playing that, and he let him, because they were just going really slow, inch up a little bit and stop for a long time, and inch up a little and stop for a long time. Since they were going so slow, he let him get out of his car seat. So Adam was about 3, maybe not quite 3. And they had the music really loud, and Adam was kind of crawling around the back seat, and the two of them, the dad and Adam, the only ones in the car, and the two of them were playing with the button of the window, the up and down window button. Does that scare you? Yeah. We always told our kids they could not touch that up and down window button because you could get your hand caught in there, something. So, but that's what they were doing. They were playing with that button, and he realized, the dad's driving, and he realized that Adam had gotten quiet. And he thought, maybe he's mad because I didn't let him go trick-or-treating. And so he started talking to him and trying to get him to answer, and he wouldn't answer, and he wouldn't answer. And so finally, the next time he stopped, he turned around, and Adam's head had gotten caught in the window. The window was up really tight against his neck, and his face was blue, and he wasn't breathing. And so he stopped the car and put the window down and got out and grabbed him and put him up on the hood of the car and started doing CPR, and it wasn't working. So he ran into a house, the closest house that was there. Is this too scary for you? This is a pretty scary one. No? Okay. So he ran into this house and up these stairs, and they let him in, and he put Adam down on the floor in the living room and started doing CPR, and they called 911. And he couldn't get him to start breathing, and he couldn't get him to wake up or respond at all. And the paramedics came, and they started working on Adam. There was a lady, an old lady, in the basement, and I think that I know that she had a broken back. She was in a hospital bed, and I think that she was feeling like, I wish there was something I could do, but I wish I could tell somebody about Jesus, but I have to lay here in this hospital bed and I don't get to see anybody. And then she hears this guy come running in the house, and she can tell this is a serious situation, scary. And so she started praying for him. And almost immediately, she had a very strong feeling that Jesus wanted her to go upstairs. And she hadn't been upstairs in a year because her back was broken, and it hurt to go up and down the stairs, so she just stayed downstairs. But she thought Jesus wanted her to go upstairs and say something to this man. And so she very carefully got out of bed and very carefully climbed the stairs, and by the time she got up to the top of the stairs, the paramedics were saying, "There's nothing we can do." And they were stopping. And the dad said, "Please don't stop. Please don't stop working on him. Surely we can do something." That's what they were saying when she came up the stairs. And she went over to the dad and she said, "I was just praying for you, and Jesus wants you to pray for your son. He wants you to ask him to save his life." And he told Jonathan that he was afraid to do that. He was afraid to talk to Jesus because he had not been going to church, and he knew that Jesus wanted him to pay attention to him, to love him, and to believe in him, and he didn't want to. And so he thought, why will Jesus answer me if I ask him for my son's life? Why is he going to listen to me when I've been ignoring him for years? And so he just walked away from her. And the paramedics kept working on Adam, and nothing. And a long time, 20 minutes had gone by, and That's a long time to not be breathing, that little tiny boy. And so she came up to him again and she said, "Are you going to let your pride be more important to you than the life of your little boy? Please ask Jesus for his life. Please pray for him." And he thought, I don't want to let my pride take this child's life. So he got down on his knees by the couch, and Adam was laying right there, and the paramedics had stopped working on him. And he said, "Jesus, would you please give life to my son?" And he felt a breeze blow across his cheek and behind him and across Adam's tummy. And when the breeze went across Adam's tummy, he went, and he started breathing. And everybody said, he's going to be okay. And they started helping him, and I think they started an IV, and they got him to the hospital, and they saved him. And the next day he came home from the hospital, and he was kind of bruised because your skin gets icky when you haven't been breathing for a long time. But he was fine. It didn't bother his brain or anything. God completely healed him and gave him his life. We've been talking about the power in the name of Jesus, the power in his name when we cry out to him and ask him to do something. And that's what we see in this true story. This is actually what happened. And the man decided, if Jesus is going to show me that much grace, because he didn't feel like he deserved to have Jesus answer his prayer. If Jesus is going to show me grace and give me my child's life when I do not deserve that, I'm going to follow him. So one, I want you to remember that the name of Jesus is very powerful. He loves us, and he wants us to call on him when we need help. Number two, I would like you to think about being courageous and telling someone else about Jesus. Jonathan's question, 4 little words, do you know Jesus? And then they get to talk. If they say, no, that usually means to me they don't want to talk about it, so then I don't talk anymore. If they say, no, do you? Then I've got a chance to talk to them about it. If they say, yes, let me just tell you, like that man did, then we've got an amazing story. So do you think you can be brave enough to talk to somebody about Jesus? It's scary, I know. Boy, I'm done early. I thought I was going to take that whole 20 minutes to tell you that story. Now what do we do, Dan? Do you have more sections you could work on, more verses? Some of you do? Okay. What? Yes, we're all